Good morning, kids. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios about turning more of the rainbow friends from Roblox into different monsters. Now, at the time of recording this, the video is about a week old, but hey, I wanted to check it out. So, we are going to.
A few months ago, I did a video where I took rainbow friends and turned them into different types of monsters, really fleshing them out and making them freakier.
That was a cool episode. Check it out if you didn't.
In different universes. And since then, I've gotten a lot of requests to do a follow-up, especially since Rainbow Friends Chapter 2 came out. So today, I'm finally getting around to that, using the Rainbow Friends that I haven't already used. So,
I have no idea what's going on.
Let's get into it, shall we?
You know, hold on. Let me just. Okay, so that was an error on my part, not YouTube. I have no idea what that was. The video somehow just tilted and split and doubled. That was.
Hit like if you want. Subscribe.
Oh no, it's doing it again. Hold on.
But either way, enjoy the show.
Okay, here we go.
Oi, Benny, you ever make any mech armors?
No, it's hold on. Okay, it seems to be working good now. And first up is Cyan.
Oi, Benny, you ever make any mech armors for some guy who had like red skin or wore a lot of red or something and hid out in an old abandoned theme park? It's not ringing any bells. I mean, I made that mech armor for Walt Disney's Frozen Head that one time, and I think he hides out in an old theme park now. Oh, right. You still never told me that whole story. Yeah, and I probably never will, but who knows? Anyway, what are you asking for? Well, I heard a bunch of other folks in our group talking about some kaiju and demons and stuff from their worlds that sound a lot like this video game from my world called Rainbow Friends. And that reminded me that I was actually working on some dinosaurs based on it right as I quit working at Dino Cross Park.
Oh.
Right, the dinosaur theme park you worked at where you designed and genetically bred dinosaurs to look like video game and TV characters and stuff.
Neat.
Yeah, why are you clarifying that? We both obviously know that. Oh, it's just for Harold's sake. He's always around the corner listening in on stuff.
Hey, I don't reckon I'm always doing that. But I do appreciate the exposition. Thanks there, Benny boy. Go on, Dr. Champagne.
Oh, hi, Harold.
Okay, no. That was funny. You got the characters actually up front, but then when you got the guy around the corner, you actually got a guy around the corner. That is funny. I like that.
Anyway, last batch of dinosaurs I was getting set up to incubate was going to be a collaboration with this Rainbow Friends game. So that around the time the third chapter came out, we'd have some dinosaurs popping up in our park that looked like the monsters from the game. I obviously was never that into my work, but that last batch, I gotta say, I thought it was some of my best stuff yet. Made some real weird looking dinosaurs.
Oh, I bet.
Could you speak up a little bit more? I'm having a bit of a hard time hearing you.
Then just come around here and listen. What you doing?
Well, I don't want y'all to know that I'm listening, man.
Yeah, alright. Top tier logic there, Harold. Anyway,
Whatever,
I got the Sci-5
Harold.
to tap back into the Dino Cross Park cameras so as I could see if those last dinosaurs I made had grown up yet. Turns out they has, and they're looking real great. I mean, the best looking one is this cyan-colored T-Rex thing. Cyan, like cyan peppers?
No, Benny boy, I think he meant like turquoise, like that color that's kind of between blue and green.
Oh, so you can hear me now?
What's that?
Jeez. Anyway,
Oh
it was
my God.
like a T-Rex, but with the head of like a real wide-headed python, and it had no arms. Real cool looking, if you ask me. Here, take a look.
It is kind of cool.
Oh, dang, that is pretty cool. But wait, so do you think dinosaurs are cool now? I thought you kind of hated them. I guess now that I've gotten enough distance from them, I can kind of appreciate them more.
Mm-hmm.
What's that saying, you know, about how being around stuff too much can make you hate it?
Ooh.
Familiarity breeds contempt, I think, is the phrase that you're after there.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Harold.
You're very welcome.
Harold, will you please get closer so we can frickin' hear you? Well, I mean, I gotta have the volume of the video down, and so it's not blowing out the ears of my audience.
Now, can I see the picture too?
I want to
You're
look
not
at...
screwed. I'll go ahead and say, link to the original video will be in the description below, so remember to check them out.
a bit more first, Harry boy. Give me like 1.5 more minutes or so. Now, I'll be honest, I started us right off with the best one in the episode, in my opinion. I absolutely loved how this one turned out, and I kind of knew going in that I was going to like it. I mean, it's so many of the things that, well, not even so many, but it's one of the core things that I really like drawing, which is anything that's kind of T-Rex shaped. And this, I think, goes right up there with the Brump from my third episode of My Singing Monsters as Fantasy Beasts, of just being one of my favorite monsters that I've drawn this year, and just in general. Like, it's simple, but I think the texturing works really well. There's enough of it, but not too much, and
I can agree
stands
to
out from the
that.
background. And I thought the shape of its head was going to give me a little bit more trouble, just because it needed to be able to open at the throat and at the sides of the head, but then be able to see through the back of the mouth. And it didn't end up being that hard. It all came together really quickly, like the shaping of it just... I don't know, it fell into place super easily. I did find it was lacking a little bit of color variety, so I went back in partway through and added a little bit more purple to, like, purple streaks along its back. And I think that does elevate it that little bit more. And I like what I ended up doing with the eyes. Although I will say that when I was drawing this, like when I did Orange in the last episode, I was still debating whether it was going to have dinosaur lore for it or fantasy beast lore, but because the next drawing we have is a dragon / fantasy beast, I was like, I want to have the variety in there still, so let's just say this is a dinosaur from Champagne McGregor's world. And that kind of spur-of-the-moment banter turned out really well, I think. That's one of my favorite little banter sessions we've had in a while. But anyway, I hope you all like the finished art as much as I do, and let's take a look.
Yeah, that was actually really nice. Alright, and up next, like you said, it's
I was recently
yellow.
reminded of a region from my world that I had not visited since becoming this realm's overseer. So I ventured back to see if the people who resided there needed any assistance in managing their relationship with the monsters or beasts that surrounded them. This territory is known as the Odd Wilds Mountain Pass, and many of the villages surrounding it now have traditions involving the pass. They'll send their guards in training through it as a rite of passage, and those who survive the venture are granted positions as village protectors. I still thought it best to inquire if the creatures of the pass had been causing any added trouble as of late, or if the surrounding villages wanted any assistance in attempting to protect their people from the creatures. The villagers claimed no such desire, and in fact revel in having the Odd Wilds beasts as a staple of their territory. While in the region, I decided to go through the motion of venturing through the pass myself, though I admit it felt somewhat like cheating, knowing I had the ability to summon a beast to protect myself, or even create a portal to escape if need be. The journey was more treacherous than I anticipated, and it made me further respect the skill set of the guards who make their way through. Though I did pass by withered and tattered skeletons on multiple occasions, showing ample evidence that not all do make it out alive. The only creature that truly caused me to consider transporting myself to freedom was the Amber Dagger Clutch. It is a dragon of vibrant yellow color that revealed itself as I was reaching the end of a cavern. It descended on me like lightning and clutched me tightly in one of its 4 wings. It then carried me farther into a clearing, placed me in the grip of its talons instead, then flew up into the air. Luckily, a guard who had made it through this pass had warned me of this creature in advance, and stated that it was very likely I'd be caught by it at some point. But that to escape it, I merely needed to injure its foot while it carried me over a river of the mountain pass, so I could escape while surviving the fall. If I did not free myself at that time, I'd likely be taken to the creature's nest and be devoured. I of course had no intention of becoming a meal, so I did as suggested. I was just barely able to wiggle one arm free from its grip in time to draw a dagger from my boot and stab it into the toe of the creature. It shrieked and released me, allowing me to drop 30 feet into the slow-moving river. It of course came after me again, but I got out of the waters and ducked into a thick of trees and waited the creature out. Eventually it did grow bored and moved along. I was thereafter able to finish my trek through the mountains, and was admittedly proud that I'd done so without the use of any abilities I possess that the stoic guards from the surrounding villages do not. I may even suggest the trek to some of my otherworldly allies, and see if they'd like to test their might in the pass.
Just be careful, man. You never know what they can bring.
Now, Yellow here as a dragon, I think turned out pretty cool, and I was drawing heavy inspiration from the Rathalos from Monster Hunter, probably the most famous dragon from that set of games, although I did make a few tweaks to this one after the recording finished. I added a few more extra lines of detail, I think mostly near its face and on its nose, and I upped the gradient on the yellow of this thing. I felt by the time that I finished it, it looked a little bit too like one flat yellow color that was just a little bit too vibrant and out there. So after I kind of added a bit more of an orange gradient, so it's going from a brighter yellow to more of an orange color, giving it overall a little bit more of a golden kind of look. And I think I possibly could have even emphasized that even more, but I think that does help make it feel a little bit more varied, and that yellow was just a little bit too much. The other thing I thought about a bunch going into this one was what I was going to do with the propeller that Yellow has on its back.
What would you have done with that Roto pack? Make it into a second set of wings? Not a bad idea. And these could actually be used for like just steering or guidance or something.
Considered doing this one as a kaiju, and if I had gone that route, I probably would have kept something like the propeller, because maybe this is just me, but I personally think of kaiju designs like Godzilla monster designs to have a little bit more weird stuff or weird routes to go. I guess also thinking heavily about Pacific Rim kind of designs, but in terms of a dragon, I felt like a propeller on this thing's back was just a little bit too weird to fit into the world of my fantasy beasts and dragons and stuff. So I said, okay, you know what, let's try having another set of wings on its back that color-wise are more similar to the propeller and are a little bit more withered and deteriorated. I didn't really write anything into the lore to justify that, but I do think that was a cool way to go, and I'm pretty happy with this. Kinda looks like a yellow Lugia Rathalos with weird breaking down bat wings or something. Anyway, hope you all like the result. Let's take a look.
We do like it. And it's actually not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. I'll give it third place.
Quick interruption here to say that if you want the art from this episode as posters, some of it will be available on my Teespring store and linked down in the description. Or if you want the inks from this episode and access to the high-resolution finished artwork, you might want to consider supporting me over on Patreon, because patrons get access to art and inks a day before a video is released, plus a bonus podcast series where I go more in depth talking about my writing and design process. This week's episode will be storylines that I didn't end up going with for the Multiverse Tales Maximum Venom episode. All that's linked in the description, but now back into more art. Let's go!
Let's go. Ooh! Hold on, folks. We'll be right back. And here we are with Red himself.
Star Terminax mission well, I guess I can't actually officially call this a mission log because I haven't accepted the terms, but there's a contract out on a Yautja mad scientist with a pretty hefty bounty, and I'm considering taking it. I obviously ain't a big fan of those flargant predators.
But you should not allow your personal grievance.
Hold on, I know it's meant to be a predator, but this looks more insect-like. It's mostly because of the big-ass eyes.
Is to cause you to decide what quests to take, Bustar. Your work tracking dangerous creatures to bring to the Ishkonigan Major Nature Reserve is a more noble cause than seeking the head of a Yautja scientist, is it not?
Well, you might be right about that, Ship, but this guy ain't exactly someone I want out running around in the universe myself. As we've obviously seen, a lot of Yautja will experiment with xenomorph eggs to make stuff for him to hunt. But this guy takes it way too far. He ain't just making Xenos to hunt himself. He makes them, then he'll lure in transport ships and civilians and even a cruiser crafter with a bunch of kids on it once, down to the moon base that he works off of. Then he'll make his victims try to survive and escape from the messed up Xenos he's made. Sounds like he's even made this whole elaborate maze setup for people to try and trek through and get to freedom. Haven't really heard of anyone getting out of there alive either, though I guess it's possible and they just didn't know where to report what happened to him. A set of scans from someone who tried and failed to hunt him down showed that he already had 6 Xenos with different skill sets all lurking around that moon waiting for his next victims. And who knows how many more he's gonna make or who he's gonna trap next.
Well, consider my stance changed. Perhaps this is someone you should go after, though I do not recommend doing so from a place of vengeance against the Yautja that you feel betrayed by for excommunicating you since you stopped killing the creatures that you hunt.
Yeah, I'm still considering...
Hey, 2 for 1. Kill the guy, rescue the beast. 2 for 1.
Taking the job. But the Ishkonians still got a bunch of other contracts for me to take on to hunt down and track some other aliens. Might let this one sit for a bit and see. Odds are with a bounty as big as the one on this guy, there's probably already a few hunters going after him.
But are any of those hunters even remotely as skilled as you are? Especially when it comes to expertise on xenomorphs and the Yautja?
That's not a bad point, and, thanks for saying that, Ship.
Of course, Bustar. I am here to assist you in any way that I can.
I guess I'll sleep on it and decide. Who knows, by the time I wake up, maybe somebody else will already have gotten him anyway.
Maybe?
Now, right up until the last second I started doing this drawing, it was going to be read as a xenomorph, because I've been loving drawing xenomorphs lately. My series with Bustar Terminax and Ship as our narrators have been very fun. I'm really liking the character, and doing a xenomorph I thought was going to be really, really cool, but as I was just getting down to start the drawing, I was thinking about the lore, and I was like, it makes so much more sense from the lore I've established in my world and thinking about xenomorphs and predators for this to be some kind of mad predator scientist that makes xenomorphs and has his own Rainbow Friends style theme park, moon base, whatever, where he'll lure people in to test out his xenomorph experiments. I was like, oh, that fits so much better. And I knew that was going to mean probably a less dynamic pose, and I do think this could have looked cooler in a more dynamic pose, but would have also been less fitting to the character of Red.
No, I don't mind if it's not cool, but the pose actually is imposing, especially with him looking at his wrist to look at the egg. I mean, it's more imposing than it is frightful. I don't know. It's better in my opinion. I like it.
So I ended up going with a kind of bland pose, and I guess this isn't quite as monstery as the other Rainbow Friends monsters that I've done so far, turning them into dinosaurs and dragons and kaiju and demons, but I felt like the lore fit so nicely, and of course it tees up the possibility of doing a full episode of other Rainbow Friends, like the other monsters from Rainbow Friends, as xenomorphs, like just specifically doing an episode of that, and maybe even having it like a story-based episode. I'm not going to speculate on that too much, because who knows, it'll maybe happen, maybe it won't. Let me know in the comments if that's a concept that you'd like, but I certainly think it could make an interesting episode. But in terms of this design, I kind of wanted to have my cake and eat it too, where he had a bit of a Predator helmet, so I could have those big googly eyes, but then also had the Predator mouth.
So buggy.
And I don't think I've ever seen a Predator that has a partial mask, but I'm still very glad I went that route, because
I have. There's actually been a few throughout the movies. Though the only one I can really call is the lower half mask that was used by the Predator in, well, Predator. You know, it was kind of like a breathing apparatus. You know, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. There you go.
I do like both those elements. My favorite part of this is cropped right up to his shoulders and chest and head kind of area. I like that he's got a xenomorph egg hologram that he's looking at. I don't know why he's looking at it, and admittedly he kind of looks like he's yawning while looking at it. But just overall, even if the pose is a little bit bland, and I think visually a red xenomorph could have looked cooler, concept-wise I think this works way better, and I'm fairly happy with how the drawing turned out, even if it's a little bit less on the monster side than some of the other stuff I drew in this series.
I
hope
like
you all like the result, and let's take a look.
I like it. Out of this whole episode, I gotta give it to the Red Yacht Chef to be number one. And good job, man.
I don't think I can emphasize enough how much I love that cyan drawing. I think it's super cool. I'm really happy with how that turned
definitely
out.
take
Anyway, if you're
second
new to the
place.
channel or just haven't seen the first episode of Rainbow Friends as different types of monsters, you might want to go back and check that out. I'll link it in the cards. Or maybe you might also like my Minecraft Mobs as Xenomorphs episodes. Certainly possible that we get a spin-off of Rainbow Friends as Xenomorphs set in that same universe. But anyway, besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with is a quote from Aubrey Marcus, whose podcast I've been really enjoying lately while I work. And I heard him say recently that when you fully receive, that is the greatest gift to the giver. It's a lot of people's instincts, including my own sometimes, when someone tries to give me something to say, oh, no, that's okay. But when you're really excited to give something to someone, it's so much more satisfying when they fully appreciate it and receive it and are thankful and are excited by what you've given them, not trying to reject it. So I'm trying to remain more consciously aware of that.
You know, that one I actually get. It's like the whole thing about Christmas. You're more happy to give something than to get something. That actually makes a lot of sense. When you think about it like that, just hearing that line by itself, you don't completely get it.
And just accept things when someone tries to give something to me, and just show my genuine appreciation for it. I hope that's inspiring. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday. Goodbye.
Well, folks, that's going to be the end of today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.